So, here we are for this week in
Here
wrestling.
we are.
And I have the unfortunate responsibility to kick things off with Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
So, in terms of the card for this week, we had Randy Orton giving an update on the effects of last week. He's apparently a luchador now. We had Charlotte
619
taking
people.
on Peyton Royce,
Sorry.
with Charlotte picking up the win. So Peyton Royce buried already. We had Xavier Woods taking on Mace, with Mace picking up the win. We had Alexa's
Xavier Woods buried
Playground
already.
with Asuka as the special guest. We then had Shayna Baszler taking on Mandy Rose, with Baszler picking up the win. We had the Dirt Sheet with Goldberg and Drew McIntyre. Wink, 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 wink. It wasn't them. Spoilers. We had Riddle and the Lucha House Party taking on the Hurt Business, with Hurt Business picking up the win. We had Jeff Hardy versus Jackson Riker again, with Jeff Hardy winning in disqualification. And the main event of the evening saw Asuka take on Alexa Bliss, with Alexa Bliss pick up the win. So a bit of a weird card. In terms of highlights,
weird, yeah.
Not many, as per usual. So, firstly, we had that's so funny. My first highlight, I've not even mentioned it in the rundown. So there was another match, guys, and it was AJ Styles and Ricochet, and it was a great match. It really was so good I didn't even put it in the bullet.
It actually was. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, like that's the crazy thing with Ricochet. Like, he's so talented, and obviously we know AJ is fucking absolute goat as well. So these dudes putting on an excellent match is no surprise, really. But yeah, it's just one of them. It doesn't, they don't utilize kind of Ricochet enough in the right way sometimes. And then obviously AJ is just fucking AJ. You can have a great match with anybody. But this did have its own little low shite though, which we will come on to in a little bit. But the match itself was good. Then my only other highlights was Gilbert, baby. So, right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the Dirt Sheet was meant to be special guests Goldberg and Drew McIntyre. So Drew McIntyre's got COVID. He was never going to show up, was he? And obviously, they said they had Goldberg, but actually they brought out Gilbert. So made up to see Gilbert because he's had a load of health issues and stuff like that. And we were really worried for him for quite a good period of time there. But he's back. He looked really good.
And that's the funny thing, because it's the last thing we heard actually was that he wasn't in good health. So it was really good to see him back.
Defo. I think it was James Ellsworth.
I popped more for that than I did Goldberg.
James Ellsworth was starting a bloody GoFundMe or something, wasn't he, for his medical bills and stuff?
He was, yeah. I think we reported on that not too long ago.
I think we were kind of a bit worried that, but yeah, great to see him back. And at this point, he's probably more over than Goldberg in my eyes, so I liked it. I
agree.
And then mad, crazy. But they had another guy portraying Drew McIntyre as well, and we were I knew I recognized him, and then we managed to find out that if you've ever seen the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen, he's Bernard, all grown up.
Yeah. Or he went from a star and roll in Numbers to this?
To fat Drew McIntyre.
I think it was called Numbers.
I think he was in that.
Yeah, the detective he uses math or whatever.
He was weird in that show. Too. But he'll always be Bernard to me, damn it.
Yeah. He is Bernard, damn it. Until he retired or whatever, didn't he? So he went in the third film. I don't know if you follow the Santa Claus law, but
but yeah, so obviously great to see Gilbert, but it's just a shame the rest of the fucking segment was a massive train wreck. And swiftly that moves us into the O'Shite.
Sadly. Whoa.
Go on.
This may end up a topic of debate in your O'Shites, but I think there's a highlight here that I think we should mention, and that is closing on a strong women's match. And I know you're gonna have some reservations, but you have to admit, still good character work, still a good main event.
I'm gonna disagree.
Fine,
it's in my O'Shites, so we will debate that when we get to it. So first O'Shite, I've already mentioned it, was fucking Randy Orton in his luchador mask. So we kick off the show. Obviously last week, Alexa shot a fucking fireball in his face, and he spent 20 minutes rolling around the ring going kind of very Peter Griffin-esque. Ah, so he did that for a bit, and then we now get an update from him, and it was just, even for WWE standards, it was so bad. It was so cheesy. There was like dramatic music in the background. He was in a little dark room somewhere, with this little luchador mask on. Even though he had a TV there with him, like where was he? Like he had a TV there to show
I don't know.
highlights. But he had this little weird like burn mask on that made him look like the world's shittest luchador. But yeah, he's got first degree burns. You know, he's hiding his face from the world.
Apparently.
But he doesn't blame.
I don't get what they were aiming for with this. It's like, you set a man on
Exactly.
fire. Are we meant
You
to feel
want
sorry for
sympathy
you?
now? Like, you know.
They're like, I'm a monster. The Phantom of the
But it's
fucking
okay, because even
Thunderdome.
though Alexa did that, he doesn't blame her. He blames the Fiend, and you know he knows why he's done it. And it's just, and
Okay.
do you know why he's done it? It's to stop him from winning the Royal Rumble. So
That's
yeah,
exactly what it was. He's like, I need to stop this guy from winning the Royal Rumble, so I'm going to ask Alexa Bliss to shoot
I
a
mean,
fireball in his face.
now that is some
Classic.
long-term storytelling. To be fair,
It's classic heel work. We've seen it before. Do you remember back in the first Royal Rumble when Hulk Hogan shot a fireball into... Okay. Just fucking
it was
ridiculous.
it's awful.
Fuck's sake,
Like,
Randy.
how fucking stupid is that to use this segment as him declaring his entry into the Royal Rumble? Like, really? Wow. Okay. So that kicked off the show and put it on a fucking great.
I feel like we're slowly going to do the Kane thing again.
Don't.
When like somebody eventually rips the mask off and it turns out he wasn't burnt at all. He's just
Well,
fucking idiot.
you know, fair
Sorry,
play,
Kane.
fair play to
Legend,
the
but that was a
you know,
winner.
WWE's makeup team, because he did look quite burnt, except for the bit that they'd all missed just at the side of his face here that just had no burn stuff on it whatsoever. So they,
Here's a fireball, so he's not going to be
well,
burnt everywhere, is he? There's going to be some
yeah,
clear bits.
okay. But yeah, so that's how we open the show. I mentioned before AJ and Ricochet was you know, a really good match, and I'm not going to discredit them for that. But what's this weird thing now where AJ Styles is like the gatekeeper for the fucking Royal Rumble? Like, it doesn't
So
make
fucking
any
funny,
sense.
isn't it?
Like last week it was
You want to get in the Rumble,
exactly
do you?
like, who was it last week? Was it Gable? Someone? Who was it?
I want to, no, it could have been Gable. Gable's smacked. No, maybe it was
Might have
Gable.
been Gable.
So you don't seem to get. Oh no, it was
Oh,
Gulak.
Gulak or Gable, one of them. So yeah, Gulak last week, and now this week it's fucking Ricochet. And
It sounds like a weird game. Time for Gulak or Gable.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just fucking stupid, right? It annoyed me, and it didn't make any sense, and I don't understand why they're using AJ.
I really hate either make everyone have to qualify for the Rumble or no one has to qualify for the Rumble. I hate this random arbitrary. Randy can just announce he's in it. Other people have to fight AJ for it. It just pisses me off.
If anything, it just discredits the likes of Ricochet and whoever who, you know, aren't worthy enough to say that they can be in there. But do you know what else? You know, speaking of people who can just announce that they're ready for the, you know, gonna enter the Rumble. Why the fuck is the Miz entered the Royal Rumble? He's got the money in the bank. How many title shots does that guy want? Like,
well, maybe this is going to be a thing that he'll win the Rumble, he'll get the match, lose, and then cash in and do it again.
The second time. Yeah, that would make perfect sense. But yeah, I don't know. It was fucking stupid. And speaking of stupid, so was the whole dirt sheet segment. Awful. Not funny.
Yep.
Crap.
It's not even worth talking about, to be honest. It was childish bullshit. As I know, like, they've always treaded the line between childish and funny, but I feel like they've just slowly slipped into just childish. Ever since they've done the whole Otis stuff, for me, they've never recovered from it. It's just not funny anymore. It's just them making very childish jokes.
I agree.
And the funny element seems to have slowly slipped away.
Also, when did it turn back into the dirt sheet?
Arbitrarily. Changes.
It doesn't make any sense, but yeah. I'm not going to say much about it, but all I'm going to say is, why the fuck did we get Hardy and Riker again? And what is this weird shit about miscommunication with Elias and Riker and dissension in the ranks already? They've been a fucking little group for about 3 weeks. Give over.
Yeah, that story doesn't work when they've not been together.
And now we're going to talk and debate this, Anthony. So, Alexa's Playground and the subsequent match, right? And I know a lot of people raved over it, you being one of them, right?
No, whoa.
No, you were raving a minute ago.
I didn't rave over it. I didn't rave.
Fucking raving, you were.
Right. There are good elements in this. The fact that Alexa's back in the ring and actually had a match, that was pretty good. We haven't seen her wrestle since Nikki Cross. They seem to be very sporadic at the moment. The fact that she seems to be echoing a very similar character where she'll sort of change personality. I think is a good example of her character work at the moment. I did not like the fact that that's how she won. Like it was just a sudden, well, she's different now, so she's gonna do the Sister Abigail, and you fucked. That's it, game over. Didn't like that, but I love the fact that we got a good, strong female match as the main event. That were two people who weren't Charlotte. That's a plus. And the fact that we got to see Alexa in the ring again. I think, but all those elements make it, at least in some ways, a highlight. Bitch.
So, what I will say, so
I feel like you didn't listen to a word I said, and you're just like, "You'll finish in a min," and I get to say my piece.
Yeah, I agree. See what I did there?
Nice.
No, look, like
I
Alexa was good. She's always good. Her character work is good. She's creepy. Like in terms of the segment ahead of the match, she was fine. I can't fault her. Asuka was awful in that segment. She was fucking running around the ring like fucking dancing the 1 minute. She was scared the next minute. She's honored to face her. Why? Like she was awful. Didn't make any sense, right? Then the match, I, I guess I do kind of like maybe that she's. Maybe that's even too strong a word. She's got two personas now, similar to the Fiend, and I guess it's like the Fiend is controlling it somehow or whatever. Okay, but I don't know. It feels a bit flat, and I just the finish. The finish
I think
pissed me off more
she
than
does
anything.
it well, whether it's a good thing or not. You know what I mean? Like she can switch the character really well, and she's good at that. But I don't know if that necessarily that makes it a good angle per se. But she's
But it was
definitely
just
very good at
like
it.
for me, like Bray Wyatt turns into the Fiend. Alexa puts some black lipstick on and a black t-shirt. And it's like it's not really the same, is it? To be fair, but okay. But yeah, so there's that. But then the finish, man. Right, I am a stickler for this, but at the same time, I am not going to apologize for it. It's fucking stupid and it's shit. Asuka was battering her for ages, right? And then all of a sudden, she just goes for a Sister
Yep.
Abigail and holds her there for about 10 seconds.
Well, we've complained about this before with the Fiend. In all
I'm,
fairness, like it is one of them where you're like, why did you not do
it's
anything?
it's fucking laughable. And I know, yeah, it's fucking choreographed, it's predetermined, whatever. It still needs to make sense. You can't just have someone beating someone up and
This
then
is
just
it's
goes, "Ha,
similar.
now I will hold you here for 10 seconds while you do absolutely nothing, and then I'll hit my move."
It's very similar. In fact, it's probably worse than your gripe about
Mm,
when you pin people. And you
yeah,
mentioned it a few times that one of the things you were taught was like, don't act like you
yeah,
want to be pinned. Don't just be like, well, this
exactly.
is me now. You know, it just doesn't
There's
make
no
any
fight
sense.
there.
And it's a similar thing to that, isn't it? Where you go, where the whole point in this, like, this is theatrics, it's scripted. So this is just
Yeah.
lazy then, isn't it? Because why aren't you trying to sell it to us that you're trying to escape?
Like for me, something like this can completely invalidate a whole match because it's like it takes you out of it, and you sat there going, "Well, this is fucking stupid." And if anything, it reflects badly on the two performers in the ring, and that's why I don't think it's a good match. It's not a good match because they fucked up on a fundamental, and the fundamental is you can't, without putting any offense on someone, or at least pretending like they could be knocked out for 10 seconds, you can't just put someone in a position like this and cradle the head without any offense for 10 seconds before hitting the move. It's fucking stupid, and I'm not having
Mm, I think it's fun because they're mental.
it. I'm not having it. Not having it. But anyway,
Fine.
yeah, I don't really know. I kind of feel bad as well for Asuka in a sense because she was awful in the previous segment, and then she's getting, she got a lot of offense in, but effectively she got squashed as the women's champion by um Alexa
Yeah.
Bliss. You've then got fucking Charlotte getting more face time anyway, and
I mean, it's
so it's
Charlotte.
kind of like, well,
Like, how do you not give it all the
yeah, I
time?
don't know. I feel like she's losing that belt soon. Like whether it's to Charlotte or what, like whoever wins that Rumble, she's losing that belt, 100%.
I'm quite impressed she held it as long
Yeah,
as she has, to be
it's one of
honest.
them though as well. I feel like her character's been awful as well. The weird dancing thing. Like she was good when she was like, no one's ready for Asuka. She's a badass. And then this weird thing with Carrie
Yeah.
saying,
I thought they were bringing that back when they were doing the whole poison
yeah,
mist and the green eye thing and all that. I was like, well, they're trying to make her more sinister again, but no, that never went
no.
anywhere.
So yeah, I was disappointed to say the least. But that was the show, and for me, taking everything into account, going to give it a 1.
Fine. You were entitled to do so.
So that's my 2 cents, Anthony.
I'm going to give it a 1.5 because I wasn't as aggrieved as you.
Okay. I'll allow it. Just this once.
Cool. Should we talk about
Let's
NXT
talk about
then?
NXT.
Do this thing. So, as far as the card goes, we're still very Dusty Classic, right? Obviously, we've got a tournament going on. I love a good tournament anyway. So we start the night with the tag team of Gargano and Theory going up against Kushida and Leon Ruff, with Kushida and Ruff taking the win. We had, following that, Karrion Kross going up against Ashante Adonis, or Ashante the Adonis, with Karrion Kross taking the win, obviously. We had another Dusty Classic follow-up match with Imperium going up against the Lucha House Party, with the Lucha House Party taking the win. We then had the female Dusty Classic match of Carter and Catanzaro going up against Storm and Martinez, with Carter and Catanzaro taking the win. We then followed that up with Bronson Reed going up against Tyler Rust, with Bronson Reed taking the win. Then we had some sort of weird promo with Legado del Fantasma, with no one winning, not even the audience. And then we closed the night off with the pit fight we've all been waiting for. Tommaso Ciampa going up against Tim Thatcher, with Tim Thatcher taking the win. That's the card. That's the card, Carl. Now, my highlights, Carl. First one is, I want to say this is a highlight because I like where it might be headed, was that in the first match of the night, we saw Kushida actually get a clean win over Gargano? Right? Over Gargano. And I feel like this is them, like, and they've been hitting that for a while, but I feel like this is a solid sort of, yeah, we're heading to Kushida maybe having a run with the NA title. And I don't know, because he's not had it back long, but he doesn't really need the NA title either, Gargano. So I like where they're going with it. I think this could be a good feud. And I was very interested that they give him a clean pin. I know it was a tag match, but they give him a clean pin over Gargano was interesting. So I'm going to call it a highlight. My other highlight, Carl. And firstly, I do need to say, I love a good tournament. And I don't mind the Dusty Classic at all. But I think it says a lot, right, that they've had to bring in tag teams from other shows and randomly make tag teams just to get this to work. It's just one of them classic things of saying, okay, WWE just don't really care about tag teams until they want to for a sec. And obviously, the reason I had to precursor is because as far as tag teams go on NXT, the Lucha House Party on NXT really works for me. I think it was really ace match, and I can appreciate, as weird as it sounds, I can appreciate them more on NXT than I have ever been able to appreciate them on the main roster. I feel like they were used better. I feel like they were given actual credibility, and I actually got to see more of their ability in the ring. It legitimized them a little bit for me. So I want to give a highlight to the Lucha House Party. I think they suit NXT much better, and that's a bit of a worry, isn't it? So unless you have any other highlights, Carl, I'll talk about my few shites.
I certainly don't, to be fair.
Good. Right, so Karrion Kross. Might be going off this guy, you know. Only because we're right back to doing squashes, aren't we? Old Karrion squash right there, because we had a pointless match where he squashes someone who's not that built up on the roster. I mean, at least we've heard of him, but he's not that built up on the roster. And for me, when he first debuted and he was squashing people, it was to establish that he's a monster. Now he's gone up against some legitimate people. And it's like, yeah, we're going to go right back to you squashing people. But it's like, we're not building them up anymore. We know who he is. Do you know what I mean? Like, this didn't help anyone. Like, it didn't really, I don't think any more or less of Karrion. I might even think a little less because I did just moan about that. And it didn't help Ashante Adonis at all. So, I don't know. It just kind of bugged me this week that we go right back to doing squashes when they've had all this stuff with Priest, we've had all this suggestion in the main title scene, and now it's just random squash this week. Fuck it.
Yeah, I think it feels like now he's come back, they don't know what to do with him. Because I would have assumed they were going to insert him directly into the title picture again, because that's where he, belongs, isn't it? But it just kind of, it's just there. Yeah, just there.
The other one, this is going to be a controversial one, Carl. The Women's Dusty Classic. It's fucking stupid. Right? And this isn't because it's a woman thing. It's because they barely had any tag teams anyway. Worse than the men's side. And I've already moaned about the men's side having to randomly bring in tag teams from other shows or randomly smack tag teams together. Like, I think there's one tag team. Like, in the entire thing. Oh, and they're not even a tag team. It's just like, what's her name? It'll come back to me. Anyway, but yeah, there's like one that like the mates. Do you know what I mean? But like, how random is the pairing of Storm and Martinez? It's like, yeah, fuck it, we'll throw them together. Why not? It's just, this is where I'm like, I feel the same way about the women's tag titles. Unless you've got a few tag teams, it's pointless fucking doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you agree with it or not, because like, let's get some tag teams together and have a nice tournament. But I don't know. I hate it when they're not real tag team. Like the Storm Martinez one is a particularly thing. Like this to me epitomizes what WWE thinks of tag teams, because it's like, well, we don't like each other, but we're both awesome wrestlers, so naturally we'll be an awesome tag team, and it just totally discredits having chemistry as a tag team. Like that's totally irrelevant. As long as you're both awesome wrestlers, it won't matter. Which is not.
I don't know. I think I can't be too harsh on it, because AEW have done something very similar in the past. Obviously they had the women's kind of tag team thing.
Yeah, but you want to talk about AEW's women's roster?
I mean, but like, I didn't mind that then, and I don't want to see. I think you're right. It doesn't make sense to necessarily do it when there's no titles to go for or anything like that. But at the same time, it can be interesting to get people together and see how they are as a team, and then it doesn't always have to end up in a championship. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think they are going to be clutching the straws, and I think some of the teamings already so far are a bit questionable, to say the least.
I mean, they have a little bit of potential. Like, this is the thing that bugs me as well. You never really see the women's tag titles on NXT, but they could be. Why don't Charlotte and Doodah rock up on there and go, you know what? We're going to win the Dusty Classic because we're the best fucking women's tag team anyway. Why doesn't that happen?
That is very true.
Yeah. But no, it won't happen because fuck it. Well, it might happen because it's Charlotte and Charlotte appears everywhere. I don't know. Anyway, again, not to be too thingy, and it's not because it's a women's tournament. It's because just I feel like we've just not got. I don't even know how we're gonna pad this out. More random tag teams, I suppose. Anyway, my last one, and I'm sure you agree with me on this one at least, Carl. The fucking pre-match weigh-in. I moaned about this with Dynamite, and I'm gonna moan about it now. They did a pre-match weigh-in for the pit fight, right? And like it was just so we could have this little segment where they nearly attacked each other. Then, like, is at any point either of them not going to make weight? And you go, well, sorry, lads, you can't have the match. It's never going to fucking happen. I get you trying to be creative, but don't give me this bullshit. No one has to weigh in for fuck all. No one has to sign a contract with fuck all. You liars.
Yeah, but Anthony, it's in a cage, and whenever people fight in a cage, they have weigh-ins. You know what I mean? So.
Well, yeah, that makes a bit of
except
sense.
for the first cage match when Riddle and Thatcher didn't have a weigh-in, but for this one, yeah.
No, that's true. So so I just needed to moan about that because I moaned about it with Dynamite. It wouldn't be fair to ignore it with NXT. Stupid weigh-in segments.
Stupid weigh-in
segments. So overall, despite my gripes, it wasn't a bad week by any means. Very middle of the road, but I do enjoy a good tournament. On those balances, I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Okay, I had it down as a 2. I don't know whether that's just because I'm not as invested in the folks in NXT as you are, or
because you're a bitter man, Carl.
Definitely that. But yeah, I don't know. It was just very meh. Didn't really move anything along too much, but in terms of the quality of stuff, it was fine. But yeah, just very meh.
Yeah. Not really a highlight or no shape, but it's probably worth a mention. Like Tim Thatcher winning that pit fight, like kind of had to happen, or that would have totally ruined Thatcher. But I assume he's just going to go back to obscurity now until there's another pit fight to be had.
I mean, it's all well and good giving someone their own match type, but if it's something that they have once a year and the rest of the time they're just pretty shit and lose all the time, it's not great.
It's like that's the thing. So far it feels like there's the pit there with Thatcher in it, and you can just throw people to him. Like it's only ever Thatcher in it. It's weird, but hey ho. Yeah, just wanted to mention that he definitely had to win it. It kind of took the mystery out of it, really. But if he'd have lost, it would have totally fucking ruined him.
No, definitely.
Brutal match though.
So let's move on to the other Wednesday night show, Superior Wednesday night show. Light it up. It's Wednesday. You know what that means? Dynamite. It was New Year's Smash Night 2, and the card consisted of a... Was it? Or was that last week? I may not have updated the doc.
I think that was last week,
Take that back. It was just a regular old Dynamite. And the card consisted of the celebration of -1's birthday. It's always weird calling it -1 because in the UK we say -1. But if he wants to be -1, that's cool. So, celebration of his birthday, we had Dark Order and Hangman taking on the Chaos Project and TH2. And after the match, Hangman was going to reveal whether or not he was going to join the Dark Order. Dark Order and Hangman did win the match, and Page revealed he will not be joining the Dark Order, much to the dismay of all of the Dark Order members.
Right. Well, that's the end of that then.
It is, or is it? We then had Sting congratulating Darby Allin on his successful title defense. We had...
I feel like the way the booking Sting at the minute is like, we invited him around that 1 week and he just hasn't fucking left.
Yeah, a little bit like that. We had...
Just wanders around the rafters now.
We had...
Haunting the Jacksonville Stadium.
Yeah, just that. Him and Darby just walking around the seats in the bleachers. That's all they do. All night, all day.
The Jags are terrified, man.
We had Cody Rhodes in action taking on Peter Avalon, and Rhodes picked up the win. We had Jon Moxley taking on Nick Comoroto, with Moxley picking up the win. We had Matt Sydal and Top Flight taking on the team of Private Party and Matt Hardy, with the Hardy Party picking up the win. And we had Penelope Ford taking on Leyla Hirsch, with Penelope Ford picking up the win. And the main event of the evening was, of course, the Inner Circle, all taking on each other for tag team supremacy, with MJF and Chris Jericho picking up the win with seconds to spare. So,
nice.
In terms of highlights, I actually quite enjoyed the whole opening segment. So, again, the whole thing was done, and you've got to look at it this way as well. The whole thing was done obviously for -1 and for Brody's family, and it's obviously having this kind of celebration of his birthday and stuff like that. So I think I just want to say what they're doing, I think is amazing, and it's nice that it's not just like, well, Brody's passed away now, and we did a nice little tribute, and then that's it. Like, they're keeping him around, they're keeping the family there. He's probably paying, -1 or something, or at least
contracted now, dude.
They're probably doing something, do you know what I mean, to look after the family as well. So yeah, I think it's good, and I thought the match as well was decent too. It's not the action-packed kind of opening that we expect from Dynamite, although I say that, but Hangman did dive down and do a fucking flying crossbody to open the match. But good match, I thought, and then obviously I thought the way they handled the whole Hangman thing with the Dark Order, I thought it was hilarious the way that they'd already planned the celebration. And he was like, so, and then they played the music and the little things fell and stuff like that, and he only ended up saying no. But yeah, strange one really. I don't really know what's next for him. His rationale or the reasoning behind it was simply that he's been part of a group before and it didn't work out too well for him. So, he's had a lot of fun, but he doesn't want to join. So they were all very sad. Who knows what is next for Hangman? But I enjoyed that as an opening. The next bit of news was so Sting was congratulating Darby Allin, and then we find out that we're going to see him in a match. So we did query this. When he first joined AEW, and on the website it had a win-loss record type thing. But yeah, he's going to be in a match. It's going to be a street fight. So I'm still not too sure how I feel about it. But I don't know. I think having Sting there and giving Darby Allin his kind of seal of approval. I know you're not massively big on Darby Allin yourself, but I think having someone like Sting there does really help elevate him and give him that kind of.
I don't I don't mind Darby Allin per se. I don't like how quickly, not quickly, it's not even the right way. I don't like how he got the TNT title. Like, and the way it was sort of presented to him like a fucking chalice still bugs me. And I don't, to be honest, if you think about the booking, and I'm not trying to be too mean on Dynamite here, but it's like, isn't it like really kind of odd that Sting's like, oh, you wear face paint too? We're like best friends right now. It's just weird. But at the same time, it's going somewhere. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I completely get your point about the oh, you wear face paint too. We're best friends now. I think I don't know. For me, they're making a big deal out of it. Obviously, Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes, and he will over fucking produce and book everything that until the fucking cows come home, Money. And him kneeling down, presenting that thing like a fucking chalice that has annoyed you so much. I try and just look. I try and look past that because that's just Cody. I think in terms of Darby.
I can't wait to see him overproduce a film one day.
In terms of Darby, I think it's a big deal because he's the first homegrown champion they've had in that company. You know what I mean? So it's like he's from there. He's an AEW original. You know, you've had Cody as a champ, you've had fucking Brody, you've had Lance Archer have it for a bit. Can't even remember. Don't think he did he? Who knows?
I don't think he did. I think he had a match for it, but I don't think he actually.
And then you've had obviously Moxley and stuff like that, and then eventually Kenny Omega's got the title as well, but and Jericho obviously. So it's a big deal to have a homegrown guy. So I get why they're trying to make him a star because that's what they've set out to do. They know they can't rely on your Jerichos and your Stings and stuff forever, so they're trying to create these new stars by using the old stars, aren't they? So I think I completely get it. It's like you've got face paint too, so we're friends. But I think I don't know. It can only do good things for Darby in the long run, I think, and by giving him his like seal of approval or something. I don't know. Let's see how it goes down at Revolution this match because
yeah. I will say I don't like solidly hate Darby. He's good. It's just I'm not been a fan of the booking since the title win.
Yeah, no, I think that's understandable. And I think as well for anyone out there who's making similar comparisons to, oh well, Sting's wrestling is just like another Goldberg. It's fucking not, is it? Right? So you can
no, because he hasn't gone straight for Omega and just gone. Yeah, I want a match now.
That shit.
And everyone's gone, okay.
But yeah, I'm not exactly looking forward to the match. I can only hope it's like a pre-taped cinematic kind of thing or something similar to the street fight that Best Friends and Santana Ortiz had, where it's still pretty badass. But yeah, I'm not exactly looking forward to seeing how old is he? 60? 62? Yeah, I'm not looking forward to seeing him like wrestle. So a street fight I can get on board with, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
So the next highlight, so Mox is back wrestling, which is always good, and he faced off against a guy called Nick Comoroto. Never seen him before, but he looks pretty fucking good, to be fair. Like, do you know what? I saw Dexter Lumis and was like, okay, this guy, he could have something. He had the look and he had the personality and everything like that. Like, I get similar vibes with Comoroto. He's definitely got the look. I haven't seen loads of personality, but it looks like something could be done marketable with him. So I'm kind of I'm interested to see whether we're going to see any more of him because he looks pretty good. So yeah, all in all, it was pretty short work for Mox. But yeah, nice to see him back in action and nice to see this Nick Comoroto guy. And yeah, let's see what comes from him. And then this week, Anthony, we've got more O'Shites than we do highlights, which is a shame for Dynamite. But it is what it is. So firstly, Cody versus Pretty Peter Avalon. So, firstly, I fucking hate this new Snoop Dogg music. Like, fucking hell. I know you're on the Go Big show or whatever, but my God, Cody, just stop it. You've ruined your entrance song. It was great. I also hate.
You're way too into that song, though, to be fair.
But
that Go Big show, I believe he's on there with that Bruce Kreischer
fella. He hosts it, yeah. That Bruce Krishna. Bill Krishna?
Krishna.
Yeah, that was funny. Anthony, of course, referring to one of your favourite podcasts there, aren't you?
It is Two Bears, One Cave. Awesome podcast. Well worth listening. Bert Kreischer is one of the hosts and also the host of the Go Big show. And quite recently took a bit of umbrage to, I believe, Jericho calling him Bruce.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of Jericho and
It's hard to
Excalibur,
tell
wasn't
from
it?
the commentary.
The pair of
But
them fucked it up basically. Neither of them got it right, and he's fuming. So I thought that was pretty funny.
it was funny.
But yeah, so I hate the new Snoop music and stuff. I hate the whole Jade Cargill stuff. The finish was stupid as fuck again. Why can't he just have a normal finish? He's so annoying because I really like Cody. I think he's awesome. But
Damn it, Cody.
why you like this, man? Just stop it. So the finish was Cody puts him in the fucking figure four, right? And Avalon's not even really selling it that much, which is pretty annoying in its own right. But then Avalon slaps Cody across the face. So Cody looks at him like, you little shit, I'm going to slap you back. And then he just taps because he doesn't want to be hit in the face. And I get it, he's pretty Peter Avalon. That's fucking stupid because you're just discrediting the figure four. So I was annoyed by that.
I know, yeah. I never thought of it like that. He's more scared of a slap than he is
like,
the figure four that he's locked in.
The whole Hardy Party and Top Flight Seidel match didn't work either. It felt really clumsy. You know, the timing was off. Like, it didn't seem like they were communicating very well. It was just very all over the place, which is a shame because I really like Top Flight and I really like Private Party, but maybe.
Can I just say though, I think Hardy Party's a misstep, and I don't think they're ready to admit it yet. I don't think it works. I don't think it's ever worked. I know you've had some reservations over the last few weeks, but I decided this week this is one of them things where they need to go, this isn't working, let's do something else, because it doesn't work for me, this at all.
Yeah, fully agree, fully on board. Doesn't make any sense. I think I said last week it's the worst Hardy character I've seen in a long time. It just doesn't suit him. He's got enough personas, doesn't need
for
this
me,
agent type thing he's doing.
In terms of like uninteresting storyline, this is up there with the Nightmare Collective. It's like, doesn't work, let it go.
I hope that they actually do. I really do, or at least they do something better with it. But yeah, it's not landed at the minute. The Young Bucks, another one that often feature on my own shites, unfortunately. So they show up at Kenny Omega's house, and yeah, it was pretty funny because there was a picture on the wall of two muscly men with like superimposed Kenny Omega and Don Callis faces on, haha. But then the Young Bucks go and beat up Don Callis basically, and then Kenny Omega's really angry about it. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's very hit and miss. Like when Omega won the belt and he ran off with Don Callis and was like, maybe I'm going to go to Impact and the stuff he's been doing, all that stuff's pretty sick. But the last couple of weeks, the whole like, well, we're going to bring, like we're the elite, but now we're not the elite. We're the Bullet Club, and we're Young Bucks are in it, but now you're not in it. And then now I don't know, it's all over the place, and I'm not digging it.
We're the Elite Bullets. I don't know.
The Bullets. French. Then
I think you made a new shirt there.
Bullet Club. But then we had the main event as well, which just I don't know, it underwhelmed. I know that you weren't super keen on this, were you? So maybe you can be like, not the kind of guy to say I told you so, but I told you so. I thought they could have done something good with it. I think they started off quite well.
But they didn't.
They didn't. They started off quite well, I thought, where it was kind of like the playfulness of it, of like, we're actually all mates. We're just gonna, like we're gonna prove that we're better than you, and like they didn't really want to hurt each other. But then, like before you knew it, it just turned into any other three-way tag match. They were just beating the shit out of each other, which didn't really make sense because there was no animosity there. And look, right, he doesn't deserve all the shit he's got for this, right? Jericho did not look great in this match, and there's been a few matches where he hasn't looked great. But he went for a lionsault that he couldn't have done his usual way just because of the way it was. So he ended up kind of having to do a modified version where he kind of jumped on the rope, and it was clumsy. But the fucking Twitter, Reddit, everything blew up and was like, he's past it, he's done, he's finished. He's like, I disagree. Because if you look back a couple of weeks, he was hitting these lionsaults fine. And I know he has been maybe off his game a little bit the past few months, but I feel like the amount of criticism is probably just not justified at all. Like it was one move, one botch, and I don't think it was because he couldn't do it. I think it was just a poor setup. He didn't have the space. He couldn't get a run up. So it is what it was. But yeah, so I just wanted to get that in there. But yeah, I think the match itself was I don't know. It could have been a lot better than it was. It was a bit underwhelming. They overran on the time, which led to like a really quick finish, and it was just a bit meh, to be honest. So, bit of a shame. But yeah, I thought the episode all in all was okay, but didn't really move on. Move things on too much. Like, fine, we've now got a main event set for Beach Break, and we've now got a match set for Revolution. We found out Sting's going to fight, but yeah, not that much progression. So for me, it gets probably. I'm not sure if it's the lowest I've ever given it, but it's definitely down there. Gets a 2 for me. We're on par with NXT this week.
I agree that it's on par with NXT this week in the sense that I'd give it a 2.5. Definitely went worse. NXT was very middle of the road, and I think there was nothing spectacular in it, but it was still a good week. So yeah, 2.5 for me.
Okay.
Because I'm not as tight as you, but whatever. So should we talk about SmackDown?
Talk about it.
Okay. So we open the night with a promo from Roman Reigns / Kevin Owens, as we like to do. We then had a match between the Riot Squad and the tag team of Charlotte and Asuka. Charlotte and Asuka taking the win. We then see Cesaro go up against Dolph Ziggler, with Cesaro taking the win. We had Sasha Banks going up against Reginald, with Sasha Banks taking the win. We had Big E going up against Apollo Creed, with Apollo Crews, with Big E taking the win. And that was an IC title match, so that's that done. We had some daft shit with Bayley and Bianca Belair, which we'll talk about. We had Corbin going up against Dominic Mysterio, with Corbin taking the win. And we closed the night off with Adam Pearce versus Paul Heyman. Didn't think you'd expect that as a main event, but that's what we got. Honest, nothing's going to change. And I don't think anyone won that, to be honest. So, first highlight. I actually quite liked the storytelling behind the whole Heyman thing. And it's going to spoil the main event a bit, but does it matter? And that is the fact that, like, obviously, they cut the opening promo. We have to start every night with Roman and Heyman, or some form of that whole thing opening the show. And we had Adam Pearce aggravating Heyman to the point that Heyman starts talking smack, and they agreed to a match between Heyman and Pearce. Heyman cocky as anything, and it was sold really well. I enjoyed it when he's like I will kick you or beat your ass or something like that, and it was like, it's such undeserved confidence that you're like, something's amiss. And then it paid off because he used the exact same trick that Adam Pearce used to get Kevin Owens in the match at Rumble, and he feigned a leg injury and replaced himself with Roman Reigns, so Roman Reigns could beat the shit out of Pearce as the main event. Obviously, chaos ensued, and I do have some issues with that. But as a highlight, I want to give credit to the storytelling and the sort of callback on that same trick. I thought it was quite good.
Yeah, I thought Paul was good at it. You could see what was going to happen from a mile away, but I liked sassy Paul.
Yeah. I just like
I'm from New York.
I like
will
the callback. He's boss, isn't he? Do you know what? I've not seen Paul talk a lot with Roman, so it's nice to see him get a bit of mic time. And I get it, because he's trying to be a different Paul. He's not trying to talk for him because he's not Brock. But it's nice to see him still get a bit of that whole promo work. It was good. So it's kind of a highlight, my next one, but I do have issue with it for obvious reasons. But isn't it nice to see them remember that the women's tag titles can be defended on other shows?
As soon as Charlotte comes back, they remember that.
It's funny that, and that's the slight gripe I have, because it's now they've remembered. But we'll talk about that. But as a highlight, the fact that they're defending them on other shows is good. It's good. It's a plus. It's a good thing. I'm curious, because you said some stuff before that made me think you maybe don't agree with this. But Ziggles and Cesaro was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. I think Cesaro getting the win was good, and furthers this whole belief that maybe he's getting a push. I don't know. Is he? But they're both very technically gifted in the ring, and sadly, Dolph Ziggler is very good at selling, and when you're trying to push Cesaro, he's the perfect man to do it. So I really enjoyed the match from a technical standpoint. It just makes me really hope that Cesaro is going to get some sort of push here.
I think to clarify, I thought Cesaro was fantastic on the mic for the first time, like in a long time, or if not ever.
Yeah, it feels like he's been working on it.
Sammy, where he was like, I can speak in 5 languages, and he said something in French, and then passed it to Sammy. And he went, yeah, no one cares what you've got to say. It's just like even stuff like that, I thought was hilarious. But then, yeah, I thought he was really good on the mic. The match itself was really good. It was just more the fact that Dolph Ziggler getting on the mic was boring and bland. That was the only thing I had against it. But yeah,
Yeah,
I hope he's getting a push. But it would feel a bit, I don't know, it would feel a bit out of nowhere if he did just start getting a push now. But I mean, I am all for a Cesaro push, absolutely.
definitely. So we can only hope, mate. We can only hope. Um, so my next highlight, Carl, I'll call it a highlight because it's something we've been talking about for a little while on this show, and that was WWE's squeamishness about intergender matches. It's sort of a question we've put to a few of our interviewees as well, and it was interesting to see them pull the trigger on an intergender match. And look what happened, WWE. It went fine. It was okay. It wasn't the best match ever, but it was okay. Nothing bad happened. Look at that. Unless you got a raft of complaints, I don't know. But it wasn't. I think it was better than I think you probably expected it to be. Doesn't make it a good match. It was still kind of sloppy. And I'm slightly bugged that we're meant to be like, wow, this Reginald, he's really athletic. It's like, fuck off. We got Ricochet on the other show. Like, so we can do a flip.
Who even is this guy? To be fair, do you know what I mean? Like, I just but
Reginald.
what? Like, who is he? Why is he there? Why is he on my telly?
Well, he makes drinks for Carmella and then flips off the ring apron.
Bullshit.
It's his thing. It's like his
you
thing,
know
man. But yeah, it was kind of a sloppy match, but it was good to see them have Sasha be that sort of dominant character in this sort of format. It was good. I liked it. It wasn't great.
I thought it worked
in
the sense that it was Sasha being the one to do it because I don't know. I feel like her kind of attitude and the way she carries herself and stuff made sense. I thought they played it too safe. Like he didn't exactly beat her up or like kick her in the head or anything, did he? Do you know what I mean? It was a bit too safe.
This is like them dipping the toe in the water, and this is the bit that really puzzles me with WWE because for a show that in the Attitude Era had Jericho feuding with China, like how are they so squeamish about this stuff? But this was them dipping the toe in, so yeah, it was like Reginald's under strict instructions.
Yeah,
he might as well have been like, "Do I have permission to touch your body?" Because he couldn't actually do anything. It was just, yeah, it was probably a little bit too standoffish in all fairness.
Yeah.
But my last highlight, Carl, and again, don't know if you're going to agree with it, but Sami Zayn, how can you not love that little Irish troll? He's fucking boss. Like
Irish.
This whole justice for is he Irish? What is he?
Canadian.
Canadian troll.
I love
it. He looks Irish. Anyway, no, but how can you not love this little troll? He's just awesome. Like he come out with that whole, he handcuffed himself to the barriers. He called him like justice for Sammy, and all this kind of stuff. And I love it. I love even in a loss, he's so like into himself, and like if he can weasel his way back into the title scene, he fucking will. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it, and I still think his heel works great. I know you don't, but whatever.
I don't know. He's maybe he's grown on me a little bit. I think it's definitely different to say the least. I love the way he's got a documentary crew like filming him like going around, and he's got his little fucking picket sign and handcuffing himself to things. Like it is definitely different and stuff like that. And he is a weasel. But yeah, I still don't think he should be the IC title champion, but I don't think Big E should be either. So, meh.
Yeah, fine. So, oh shites. As much as I commend, and I still commend the work between Roman and Kevin Owens and Paul Heyman and anyone else involved, I feel like SmackDown's getting a bit paint by numbers with the fact that every week for the last few weeks now we've had, let's open with Roman coming to the ring, or let's open with Jey Uso coming to the ring, or let's open with Paul Heyman coming to the ring. And it's like, it's all around the same story. And it's like, let's start with that promo, get that going, have a match. Main event's going to be about them as well. So they like bookend every SmackDown with Roman. And it's like, yeah, I'm really enjoying his heel work, but I don't know, it just feels a bit too predictable. Is that something to moan about? Like, I'm fine with the stuff, just don't have it in the same order. It seems like a bit of a petty moan, but I don't know. It's like, just feels a little bit too routine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will agree. I think it is the fact it just opens every week, and it's don't get me wrong, Roman is great on the mic. I think I said the same thing last week. It was like he is good, but at the same time, it is just getting a bit repetitive now, isn't it? And I'm not a fan at all of this Adam Pearce stuff and the amount of time he's getting and things like that. Like, I'm just not a fan of it, honestly.
I am totally like, I'll you know what, I'll cut to this this oh shite, which is one of my last ones. But the thing that bugs me with it all, right? I would have probably been okay with it if it led to something with Adam Pearce, like actually having a match. And to be honest, I'm not overly big on the whole authority figure thing, and then they get involved. Like, I don't. I think this is kind of a really old thing that they're doing with Adam Pearce instead of a McMahon. Do you know what I mean? It's something we've kind of had before. Authority figures getting too involved and all that, but when you break it down and you look at it and you go, right, we had all that story and all that work and all this match between Heyman and Adam Pearce, and what it actually boiled down to was another brawl between Reigns and KO, which we've had a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not objecting to another match between the two of them at the Rumble, but ultimately what this was these two fighting but not in the ring. They're having a brawl.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we've had that a few times, and you tricked us with something else and then went right back
Do you
to
know, like, to be fair, I didn't mind that because Owens got the upper hand for once. So I was okay with that. The
that.
problem I've got is with Adam Pearce, and you've said then it's like we've seen it before, authority figures, but it's normally a McMahon or it's normally a former superstar who is in an authority figure role. Why
Yeah, someone
why
with
should we give
authority.
a fuck about Adam Pearce? It's not like, we've watched him for years and, it's not like it's Mick Foley and he's now the commissioner and, yeah, I'd get behind that. It's like why should I care about Adam Pearce? And there's no disrespect to him. It's just, well, why would I care about Adam Pearce? I have no affinity to him.
Yeah,
He's a nobody to me. So,
yeah,
like, get him off me telly every 2 minutes. I don't care if he has a match or not. I really couldn't
yeah,
give a fuck.
yeah. Plus, I feel like what they're trying to sell him as now doesn't match the guy who was too afraid to kick Randy Orton
Yeah.
out of the building on Raw. It's like, I feel like they forget that they made him kind of a wuss all
Mm.
round, and then now he's like, I'm going to get the upper hand on Roman by tricking him into this match. And it's like, okay, like that's new,
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, I don't know. For me, what it devolved into was something that honestly they could have just been more direct with and just had them fucking brawl again. It didn't really matter to me. So, me next, though, Shy Carl. We're back to all Charlotte TV now, aren't we? She's back, and she's going to be
Yeah.
everywhere. And that worries me. Because, yeah, we had her on SmackDown as well, as it turns out. And luckily, she's not gone back to NXT just yet. But it feels like the start of it's like, well, let's put Charlotte everywhere we can because we love Charlotte. Charlotte's boss. It's like, again, totally fine with Charlotte, but maybe in smaller doses, maybe.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, I'm not fine with it, to be fair. I'm annoyed already. The fact that she's come back, she's getting more TV time than the women's champ. And now already like
Who's the women's champ?
Asuka. But like I know Asuka was in the match
Okay,
as well.
Charlotte.
But
Oh,
yeah, like on Raw and stuff, like she's in a story and stuff like bigger it seems than Asuka's, and yeah, I just feel already it's like, oh fucking hell, she's already on SmackDown. Gonna be back a week. Like, my God.
yeah, I know. Didn't even waste a week. Crazy. Um, my next one, Carl, and I'm hoping we're gonna have a good talk about this, right? All this shit between Bianca Belair and Bailey.
Don't you even have the
Is it just
audacity to
me?
say this is a bad thing? Because you fucking love the Street Profits, and this is Street Profits 2. It's fucking shit, and so is the Street Profits.
It is, but this is the problem I've got with it. I feel like they were like, well, we kind of never finished the skits between the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits, so do you guys want to do them?
Ugh.
And it's like they're doing like the same shit, but with them two now instead. And it was like the trickery was even stupid. And like when you look at it on the face of it, it's like a fat joke again, isn't it? Like you have to carry a guy,
Mm.
but your guy's Otis, and it's like Otis is
Yeah.
fat. It's like why are we still doing this kind of humor again? Um, and I know some people have praised this because it showed like Bianca Belair like got a good showing in this, or like because she wasn't perturbed by any of the trickery from Bailey. But I'm like, what's this shit? Just have a match.
Yeah.
All this bullshit. And yes, you can call me on it, Carl, because I enjoyed it when it was the Raiders and the Profits.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like, again, they're scared to do wrestling. Do you know what I mean? They have to find segments to fill. like gaps, whether it's a talk show, a weigh-in, you know, a fucking obstacle course, whatever the fuck this was, a fucking challenge. Just I don't know, just stupid.
What are they expecting? Is there some lunatic out there who's like, oh yeah, I tuned into a wrestling show. I didn't expect it to be all wrestling. I'm going to put a complaint in about
Yeah,
this. Like, it's fine. Have some wrestling. You were called wrestling.
like
That's what the other
it's
W
not a
stands
fucking
for.
variety show, is it? You know what I mean? But we're here to see some storylines and to watch some fucking matches, and so this isn't.
I mean, to be fair, I'd have to tune into at least one episode of the McMahon Family Variety Show. That would be interesting.
It'd just be after every act, Vince just goes, "You're fired," unless you do join the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club. That's all it's gonna be.
Classic. So yeah, yes, you can give me grief on it if you want, but I didn't like this, even though I did like some of the Street Profits stuff, not all. Some of the stuff they did with the Viking Raiders was funny. Not all of it landed, and this certainly didn't land. So back off. Anyway, the next one. This might be a bit unfair, so you can call me on it of being unfair, right? Dominic's had like what, 2-3 matches. Yeah, as a match with Corbin, and he's like got all his shoulder taped up. Isn't he a bit young to be having like fucking wrestling injuries, especially because he's not really wrestled? Like, I hope that's there story wise, because if he's legit hair to shoulder, I'm like, the fuck, man, you've not even started being a wrestler yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, just needed to ask about that. Also, like, let's be honest, he's a developmental talent, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's got a Mysterio name, so he's on the main show, but he's without his dad, especially. He's like, and I want to give him credit because he was able to hang with Seth a bit, and he did that. Seth was toying with him and mocking him and so on. And it's like, well, yeah, because realistically, you can't beat Seth, so that it still worked, and they worked well together because of the way they were doing the story. But I'm like, but that's still relevant, isn't it? Like, it doesn't matter who you go in the ring with, you're still quite green, and you shouldn't be able to beat them. So, this is difficult to book now. So, like, if Corbin had lost this, it would have been really fucking ruining for Corbin, wouldn't it? So,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what they want from this.
I don't get the whole Mysterio family. They've had that Aliyah stuff going on for ages, or Leah, whatever. And then she's fucked off, and now they've still got drama with like dad and lad, and it's like, I get it, he's Mysterio's kid, but he's not even developmental ready. He needs a lot more time. Do you know what I mean? He's not. Don't get me wrong. He's not awful, but he's not. There's a long way to go.
But let's be honest, right? If you had him on NXT, right, learning bits and doing what he does, and having matches against, like, not being unfair to him because he is more established than Dominic, but having matches against Austin Theory and pulling out a win, that wouldn't feel unrealistic.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm not a fan of Corbin, going up against Corbin, who's been dominant on the roster for a while, he's not going to win. And I can't think of many people in SmackDown who he could beat logically.
No.
And that's why, to me, he needs to be on NXT.
Yeah, I'll agree with you.
And then you go, it's like, random guy who no one's heard of up against Dominic. You go, yeah, sound, that works for me.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. That is actually my last one, because I went to my last one before when I said about the ultimately we ended up in a brawl. That was my last moan. So that was SmackDown, Carl. That was SmackDown. Probably not as bad as Raw. So I'll give it a 2.
Okay, sticking with tradition. 1.5 from me.
1.5.
I still think it was marginally better than Raw.
To be honest, we all ended up in the same place with different scores.
That's true.
So it's all good.
Yeah, that was SmackDown, and that was This Week in Wrestling.
You're damn right it was.
And that was the show. We're all out of segments,
guys.
Done. We even had an additional
We're all out of segments.
We're all last week.
That was 4 this week, guys. We hope you enjoyed our Rumble ramble. And next week, Carl. Next week. Gonna be a Rumble.
Oh yeah, I get you.
Nice. We got the actual Rumble itself, so we hope you tune in and join us.
Well,
join us for that one.
Hopefully you tune in, and hopefully you tune in to see us live, because we're trying something new. We're hoping to
Yeah.
do a live stream on what we're going to call Rumble Talk. Obviously, an homage to how we first started this podcast way back when.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a live kind of almost watch along, chat along via Twitch, talking through the Rumble basically, and that's going to be our main kind of segment.
And if nothing else, this is the first time we tried to do a live. So if you want to tune in and watch us fuck it up completely, that'd be quite fun.
That would be fun. That'd be fun for everybody. Not us, but everyone watching, of course.
Of course. So until next week, guys, we'll see you again.
Take it easy.